Three Scariest Things Caught on Live TV. Story 1: The Haunted News Broadcast. In the late 1980s, a local news station in a small Midwestern town became the center of a chilling paranormal event that was caught live on television. It was a routine evening broadcast, with anchor Linda Stevens delivering the news with her usual calm demeanor. The studio, known for its professional atmosphere, had never experienced anything out of the ordinary until that night. As Linda was reporting on a local charity event, viewers at home began noticing something strange in the background. A faint, shadowy figure seemed to move behind her, drifting silently across the set. At first, it was dismissed as a trick of the light or a camera glitch. But as the broadcast continued, the figure became more pronounced, taking on the shape of a person. The control room was in a frenzy. Producers and technicians scrambled to figure out what was happening, but there was no logical explanation. The figure continued to move, seemingly unaffected by the bright studio lights. It would appear and disappear at random intervals, always staying in the periphery of the shot. Linda, oblivious to the growing panic in the control room, continued with the broadcast. But as the figure grew more distinct, viewers started calling the station, reporting the eerie sight. Some claimed it looked like a ghostly apparition, while others believed it was a technical issue. The station's phone lines were flooded with calls, adding to the chaos behind the scenes. Then, things took a more disturbing turn. As Linda began the segment on local weather, the figure appeared directly behind her. It was no longer a vague shadow, but a transparent figure of a woman in old-fashioned clothing. The apparition seemed to reach out towards Linda, who remained unaware of the chilling presence behind her. At that moment, the live feed abruptly cut to a commercial. In the studio, Linda finally sensed the tension and confusion. The crew quickly explained what had been happening on screen, and Linda, though skeptical, agreed to continue the broadcast. When they returned from the commercial break, the figure was gone. The rest of the broadcast went on without incident, but the damage was done. The viewers were terrified, and the story of the haunted news broadcast spread like wildfire. Paranormal investigators and curious locals swarmed the station in the following days, all eager to catch a glimpse of the ghostly figure. Research into the station's history revealed that the building had once been a hotel in the early 1900s. Legend had it that a young woman had died tragically in one of the rooms, her spirit rumored to haunt the site ever since. Whether it was her ghost caught on camera that night, no one could say for sure. The footage of the broadcast became infamous, often cited as one of the most convincing pieces of paranormal evidence ever captured on live TV. Linda Stevens continued her career, but always with a slight unease whenever she stepped into the studio. The incident remains one of the most unsettling moments in live television history. Story 2: The Disappearance of Angela Hill. In 2010, a local morning show in a bustling city became the site of a harrowing mystery when one of its hosts, Angela Hill, disappeared on live television. Angela was known for her vibrant personality and infectious energy, making her a beloved figure among viewers. The show, Good Morning City, was a staple for many, offering a mix of news, interviews, and light-hearted segments. On the day of her disappearance, Angela was scheduled to interview a renowned author about his latest book. The show started like any other, with Angela and her co-host, Tom Richards, engaging in their usual banter. The studio was filled with the usual buzz of activity as the crew prepared for the interview segment. As the interview began, everything seemed normal. Angela asked the author about his inspiration and writing process, her warm demeanor putting him at ease. But midway through the interview, Angela began to appear distracted. She glanced around the studio as if she sensed something amiss. Her co-host and the crew noticed her unease but assumed it was a minor distraction. Then, in a moment that left viewers and the studio crew in shock, Angela suddenly stood up and walked off set without a word. The cameras continued rolling, capturing the confusion of her co-host and the guest. Tom tried to maintain composure, awkwardly continuing the interview while glancing towards the off-screen commotion. The control room was in chaos. Producers tried to reach Angela on her earpiece, but there was no response. A quick-thinking crew member cut to a commercial break, hoping to resolve the situation off-air. During the break, Tom and a few others searched the studio and surrounding areas for Angela, but she was nowhere to be found. When the show returned from the break, Tom addressed the viewers, explaining that Angela had experienced a sudden illness and had to leave. He assured everyone that she would be fine, and the show continued, albeit with a palpable tension. Hours turned into days and Angela remained missing. Her family, friends, and colleagues were frantic with worry. The police were called in, and a full-scale investigation was launched. Security footage from the studio showed Angela walking out the side door, but there was no further trace of her. As days passed, rumors and theories began to circulate. Some believed Angela had been abducted, while others thought she had staged her disappearance as a publicity stunt. The most unsettling theory was that Angela had experienced a psychotic break, driven by unseen forces. Despite extensive searches and media coverage, Angela was never found. Her disappearance remains one of the most baffling and chilling mysteries in television history. The footage of her walking off set continues to haunt those who watch it, a stark reminder of the fragility of human existence and the unexplained phenomena that occasionally invade our reality. Story 3: The Possessed Weather Report. In 2016, a live weather report in a major city became the site of a terrifying and inexplicable event. Meteorologist David Collins, known for his charismatic on-air presence, was delivering the evening forecast when something strange and unsettling occurred. The broadcast started like any other. David stood in front of the green screen, animatedly explaining the weather patterns and upcoming temperatures. Viewers were accustomed to his lively style, which often included jokes and light-hearted commentary. However, halfway through the forecast, David's demeanor changed drastically. He paused mid-sentence, staring blankly at the camera. His eyes seemed to glaze over, and his expression turned vacant. The studio crew initially thought he had lost his place or was experiencing technical difficulties. But as the seconds ticked by, it became clear that something was very wrong. Without warning, David began speaking in a low, guttural voice that was not his own. The words were incoherent, a mix of languages and sounds that sent chills down the spines of viewers and the crew. His body contorted unnaturally, and he seemed to be in a trance. The control room scrambled to cut the feed, but technical issues prevented them from doing so immediately. For nearly a minute, viewers watched in horror as David continued to speak in the disturbing voice, his body twisting in unnatural ways. Finally, the screen went black, and the station cut to a pre-recorded segment. In the studio, chaos erupted. Crew members rushed to David, who had collapsed on the floor, unconscious. Paramedics were called, and he was taken to the hospital. Despite extensive medical tests, doctors could not find any physical cause for his behavior. David had no memory of the incident and was deeply shaken by what had happened. The footage of the possessed weather report quickly spread online, going viral within hours. Paranormal experts and skeptics alike weighed in on the incident. Some believed David had experienced a momentary possession by a malevolent spirit, while others suggested it was a severe medical condition or psychological episode. David took a leave of absence from the station, seeking therapy and medical advice to understand what had happened to him. Despite his efforts, the true cause of the incident remained a mystery. He eventually returned to his job, but was never quite the same. The incident left a lasting impact on his life and career, a haunting reminder of the unexplained. The possessed weather report remains one of the most disturbing and inexplicable events ever caught on live television. The footage continues to intrigue and terrify viewers, a chilling testament to the mysteries that sometimes intrude into our everyday lives.